I'll give you a slightly typical United Nations answer. On the one hand, yes, we have momentum towards a collective vision. That's a good thing and it's a new thing, and SDG 16 in particular offers a lot to all of us. On the other hand, we have to look at the problem in Syria, and the answer is no. The SDGs are still a dream. We all have to do a lot of work to make them a reality, and there's a lot of need for political consensus and political improvements to make peace something that can happen. But there's a problem with the question, do we want more integration? And I'm skeptical on that because we don't have a single answer, a pathway for a country to go from conflict to peace. There isn't a right answer out there. And so we need room for experimentation. We need to work together towards a common goal, but we need to make sure that none of us, the United Nations, civil society organizations, states, or individual people have the sole right answer, but that we all need to work together to find a more stable pathway forward. So I'm going to use an acronym for you, the acronym I used at last night's conversation, PLEASE. The first is people. Everything we do must be centered around people. The second is limits. We have to be humble about what we can do. There are places and there are roles that we can play that make a difference, but there are limits on our ability to have an influence, and we need to recognize those limits and be focused on what we can do and do it well. Evidence is critical. We need to be much more focused on evidence-based decision-making, understand where we're having a positive impact, what is working, and do those things as much as possible. Assumptions. We need to check our assumptions. We often go into countries and we make assumptions about the situation, for good and for worse. We think that local systems are better because they are inherently local, but they may be captured by warlords. They may reflect traditional and historical power dynamics that are not inclusive or egalitarian. So we have to be very careful about our assumptions. Systems, VS, we must engage in systems think. There is no simple solution, and a solution that looks too simple probably is too simple. And so how do you think about the whole system, the whole country, the peace dynamic as broadly as possible? And last but not least, espoir, hope. Everything that we do has to resonate with the people that we are serving and the people who are the only people who are the masters of their destiny, who will build peace in a country. If our work does not help them to see hope and provide hope, it will not succeed. So this is a very difficult question. There are a number of things that keep me up at night. The rise in violence, pandemics, climate change. But I think there are two in particular that make me consider that we need to rethink the way we do business, and that is urbanism. 15 out of 30 countries that are the most rapidly urbanizing in the world have or currently host peace operations, and the problem of legitimacy of states. We are seeing that people have less and less confidence in states, but we don't have another form of organization that provides stability, safety, and security to individual people. And that is a tremendous risk for all of us. And Syria and all the events across the Middle East over the last 3 years, I think, highlight that that risk is not simply local, it is a global risk that all of us face. So what can we actually do about it? We've talked about the need for systems thinking. We've talked about the need for evidence-based policy making. People actually need to understand what works carefully and then build on that. And we've talked about the need for humility, recognition of the limits of what we do. I think those three are important. I think there is a fourth element, which is that we need to tear down our own walls. The international system operates with humanitarian assistance, peace-building assistance, development assistance, peacekeeping, conflict prevention. We have lots of little silos. To a person on the ground in this country, these divisions are meaningless. They are saying to us, I can help myself, but I'm in a little bit of trouble and I need a little bit of support, and they don't care which pot of funding it comes from. So unless we can tear down some of our own walls that we have created and start to work in a way that really supports people on the ground, that is centered around their visions, their hopes, and their capacities, we will not get where we want to.